Okay, good morning and happy Friday. Welcome back. So we have another round of 3 interview pairs to go through today. This is day number 3 out of 4 for the survey interviews. Just to give you a couple of updates. First of all of the interview analysis essays have been graded, and feedback on those is available for you on Canvas. You'll see as a submission comment that I've submitted my feedback. Let me know if you have any questions about those assignments. Or about the feedback that you received on those. Also, everybody up until now who submitted a briefing guide, your grades on the survey interviews themselves have been entered as well. So up to this point, your grades in the course should be current. Okay, so we will go through the interview list. Again, you're welcome to use the front space and arrange the tables however you see fit in order to best support you and best support how you'd like to do the interview. We will get started with the pair of Austin and Rick. Again, as a reminder to everybody, it's 6 to 8 minutes. So when you're at the 8 minutes, help you get to the 8-minute limit. I'll let you know when you have 4 minutes, 3, 2, 1. I'll let you know once you're going to hit time. Okay. Whenever you two are ready, get started.
Okay. Good morning, Britt. I'm Austin, and I want to thank you for taking the time to be interviewed today. The purpose of this interview is to provide the president and administration with some insight into what it is like to be a student at UU. Do you have any questions before we start? Okay. What year are you?
I'm a junior.
Have you been at UU for your whole college career?
No, this is my first year I transferred in
Okay. Well, where did you transfer from?
Tacoma Community College.
Have you enjoyed UU more than Tacoma?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Is there something specific that made a big difference when you transferred?
My first year at Tacoma was COVID, so it wasn't really like the typical like freshman experience. And I just feel like UU was giving me like a more normal college experience because this is my first time having in-person classes because Tacoma was all online both years. And we weren't allowed to have any fans at the game, so it's nice to come here and like have a ton of support.
Do you live on or off campus?
I live off campus.
What reasons made you choose to live off campus rather than on?
When I was a freshman at TCC, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 girls. So like that was kind of like my dorm experience. So I feel like coming in, I didn't really like want to have that same experience again, and I didn't want to share a room. So I just decided to live off campus.
Overall, what made you decide to come to UU?
I came to EOU because I was offered a volleyball scholarship, and when I visited, LeGrand reminds me a lot of Wenatchee where I'm from, just like a little bit smaller. And I liked how it was like close enough to home, but like also far enough away.
So you mentioned you're on the volleyball team here. What is the environment and the culture like on this team?
I would say we have a very competitive culture, and we push each other and hold each other accountable to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward as a team. We also pride ourselves on being like close on and off the court.
How do you describe your relationship with your coach?
I would say I have a pretty close relationship with her. I know that I can like go to her if I need anything, and she not only wants me to be like a good volleyball player, but like also a good person.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst you've ever seen and 10 being the best you've ever seen, what would you rate the UU sports facility?
Probably about like a 7.
What do you study at UU?
I'm studying communications and business.
Do you feel that the professors did an adequate job of helping you learn and material within this major?
Yeah.
How would you describe your academic workload?
I feel like it's not too much for me. Like it's a pretty like decent workload. Like I always feel like I can get my work done. I'm never too stressed out where I feel like I cannot get all
Are you in any clubs?
Mm-mm.
Have you had an on-campus job since being at UU?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I work in like the early college initiative department, so I pretty much am just like a mentor for the students who are taking classes through EOU, so I just kind of like help them throughout like the terms and stuff.
How well do you feel that the academic buildings are kept clean or in shape for people?
I feel like they're kept in pretty good shape. I haven't noticed like any major damages or flaws.
What resources do you find most helpful when studying or doing?
I mostly study and do my homework at my house, but I have used the library a few times.
Are there any aspects of EUU that you dislike or would like to change?
I feel like one aspect that I would change is that the cost of online classes, because they're more expensive than in person. I just feel like that doesn't really make sense. And then also just like the price of the parking passes, just because we already pay tuition and have like a bunch of other expenses, so like no need to add on top of that.
Do you have any plans or aspirations for what you want to do once you finish college?
I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but I think like my dream job would be working with, like a professional sports team in some aspects.
What do you think EUU has done to help prepare you for doing that in the future?
I feel like with this being like my first time with online classes, I have like more of a workload than to come up. So I feel like it's taught me like more time management, and like it provides me with a lot of like a variety of classes, so I can gain more knowledge on a variety of subjects.
Well, that will about do it for this interview. Your time is greatly appreciated. And again, this interview was conducted to provide the president and administration with some insight into what it's like to be a student at UW. Do you have any questions before we finish?
Thank you. Yes.
Good morning, my name is Britt Vaughn, and I want to thank you for taking the time to participate in this interview. The purpose of this interview is to collect information for the EOU president and administration. I will be asking a series of questions to gather information on your time here at EOU. And this interview is being recorded. Is that okay? Do you have any questions so far?
No.
To get started, what is your name?
My name is Austin Turner.
And where are you from?
I'm from Oregon City, Oregon.
And how long have you attended EOU?
This is my first year here at UW.
Does that mean you're a freshman?
Yes, I am a freshman.
And were you looking at any other schools before deciding to come to EOU?
I was. There's closer to NAI school. I was looking at Warner Pacific before I came here, but overall I decided to come to UW.
And what brought you to EOU?
I wanted to play soccer
Mhm.
in college, and so this was one of the places where I could talk to the coach and make sure I came and play.
And how would you say that your time on the sports team has been?
I'd say it's been really fun.
Mhm.
We have a fun time on the team, so I enjoy it.
And how would you describe the culture?
I would say it's a competitive culture. We have a lot of fun, but we're always working towards goals, and that keeps everyone on the team motivated.
And on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not at all and 5 being a lot, how likely are you to recommend being a part of the sports team at EOU?
I would say 5.
And do you live on campus or off campus?
I live on campus.
And what has your experience been like in the dorms?
It's also been really fun. Me and my teammates are all really close together, so we can hop from room to room and help each other and have fun.
And do you think living in the dorms helped you adjust quicker when you came to college?
I do. It's more of an independent thing, so it's like away from your family, but you're also around people that can help you out. So I think it did help me adjust.
And what would you say are some advantages to living on campus?
I would say like the ease of going to practice and classes and stuff like that.
Are you a part of any clubs or activities outside of soccer?
And not yet.
And on the same scale that we used before, 1 to 5, how likely are you, or how much do you enjoy EOU?
I would say 4.
Do you feel like you thrive in the environment at EOU?
Yes, I do think that.
And what are you studying here?
I'm studying psychology with a minor in communication.
And do you feel like your time here at EOU is helping you prepare for your future plans?
I do. I'm interested in psychology in the future. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I do think that I'm getting involved.
And what on-campus academic resources do you feel are the most useful?
For me, I would say the library. I haven't used many other ones, but it provides a quiet environment where I can put my head down and get a lot of money done.
And do you feel like any of these resources could be improved? If so, which ones and why?
So the library is also great, but I do think that it could be improved. I think maybe not having to pay for the printer might be a little improvement. Other than that,
And on the same scale that we used previously, 1 to 5, how would you rate your professors in terms of how helpful and available they are?
I would say a 4.
And how would you describe your academic workload?
I'd say it keeps me busy, especially if I procrastinate a little bit, but they definitely make it doable where if I do it at the right times, then I get it done.
And do you find it difficult to balance school and soccer?
Most of the time, no. But like I said, if you do procrastinate, then it can get a little stressful.
Are there any habits or anything that help you manage to be successful in the classroom and on the soccer field?
I'd say time management.
And is there anything about you would change? If so, why?
Another little thing is the laundry in the dorms. I think we already have to pay for a lot of things, so having to pay with, like, especially with quarters, it's kind of a hassle.
And as we wrap up this interview, is there anything you would like to add about your experience at EOU? And just to say this again, I would like to thank you for your time for participating in this interview, and just wanted to remind you this information is going to be given to the EOU president and administration. I wish you the best of luck with the rest of the time here at EOU.
Thank you.
Both for getting us started today. We will next have the Paris and Derek So 8 minutes, you use the 4 minutes, 4 minutes remaining, and 3 minutes remaining. So counting down.
You want to go first?
Okay.
Hello again, my name is Chris Saronic. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day for taking this interview. The intent of this interview is to obtain your opinions on being a student here at EOU. For the act of getting a new president, your insight and experience of being a student provides a lot of information for them to see what can and cannot be improved on. This interview will be recorded. Are you okay with that? Perfect. Are there any questions that you would wish to ask me before starting this interview? Great. I'm sure you're very busy, so let's get right into it. So how old are you, Garrett?
I'm 19.
Okay, what grade are you in currently?
I'm a freshman.
And you're living in the dorms, I presume?
Yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the absolute worst, 10 being the absolute best possible, how would you rate your dorm living experience?
I'd say I give it about an 8.
Okay. What are some areas that EOU can improve on to get you to that 10 scale?
Honestly, I think it's an 8 just because like me and my friends get to hang out a lot, you know, we get to go into each other's dorm rooms all the time, hang out. So I think that's a really good option. Quite honestly, I'm not quite sure off the top of my head like what they could do to improve so far to get us to a 10. And yeah.
Okay. At UU, there are dorms for upperclassmen students. Would you be considering staying in one of these next year, or would you be living off campus?
I'll be living off campus with my brother and a couple of our teammates in one of the houses.
What is your major currently?
I'm majoring in computer science.
And are there any majors that you were interested in that UU does not carry?
There were a couple of engineering courses that I thought about taking, but and I realized that obviously you didn't have them, which was a little bit disappointing. But
Are you minoring in anything?
no, I thought about minoring in business a little like later on, but it's just a thought right now.
And were there any minors that you're interested in that we don't carry as well?
Not that I know of.
Do you play any sports here at UU?
Yes, I'm on the men's soccer team.
And how did you get into contact with the coach?
Well, my brother plays here on the soccer team, and funny enough, the coach told me that he saw a Facebook post that my mom posted of me and my brother and staying next to each other. He saw my height and was wondering if I played or not. So
How's your overall experience being on the soccer team?
awesome. I really enjoy it. We're a big family, and I have a lot of fun hanging out with all the guys, and practices are even better.
Great, I'm happy to hear that. Is there anything that could be done to improve the experience?
Honestly, no, I think the team is just perfect the way it is.
Would you recommend people playing a sport or multiple sports here at UU?
Yeah, 100%. I obviously don't know like the culture of like, like the track team or the football team and stuff like that, but I'm assuming that it's got to be great. So I definitely recommend it to other people coming in.
Now, being a student athlete, how is it juggling the student part with the athlete part?
For the most part, it's pretty good. I'd say it's a little difficult at times. Like this year coming up in the spring, I've kind of got pretty heavy loaded on classes. And so homework has kind of started to build up a little bit with our spring season kind of rolling around to prepare for fall. And so I would say it's pretty good for the most part, as long as you stay on top of your schedule.
Now, are there any notable, like really big struggles that you notice when traveling to these events after good school?
Yeah, kind of like due dates. Sometimes like if I have a test to do over the weekend and say like our soccer team was traveling over to Carroll, over in that area, over in Montana, getting like tests and stuff done in a timely manner by the due date on Saturday and Sunday is kind of
Understandable. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your overall classroom experience here?
I'd rate it a 7, probably.
Now, what could be improved on to get that to a 10?
Just like a little more support, probably, when reaching out a little bit. And some classes, a lot of my teachers have done a pretty good job so far.
Do you feel that you benefit from our small class sizes here at UU?
Yeah.
And are you currently taking, or have you previously taken here at UU any online courses?
Previously in high school, I took some online courses because we went into COVID and stuff. And then my first online course I decided to take was public speaking this year.
How's that going so far?
It's going pretty good. It's a little interesting kind of keeping up with like, like I'm not really on the pace of it. I like being on the pace of a teacher, to keep me going, and kind of doing it on your own is a little bit. There's sometimes I'll just be sitting there and I'm just like I just forget about certain assignments that I have to do.
So with that, do you prefer online or in person?
I'd say in person.
How well do you feel that the professors here at UU are teaching their courses?
I think they're doing them pretty well. There was one class that I had that was a little bit struggle, but I figured it out pretty good.
Now, being a freshman, I know that meal plans are required. What are your opinions on the food here at UU?
For the most part, I'd say it's all right. There's some days where it's a little iffy, and I'm just kind of like go down to Max Grill and eat, but overall it's all right.
Do you have any recommendations that we could do to improve that?
Honestly, no, not right. I don't think I have anything right
Now, how does UU compare to other colleges that you are familiar with?
now. It's a lot smaller. I grew up over in Spokane area, so I'm like next to Gonzaga and the big campus and stuff. But yeah, it's just like a smaller campus, so not as much people.
Would you say that your freshman experience has overall been a positive or a negative?
A positive.
Positive one? Okay, well, that's pretty much all I have for you today. I'd like to thank you again for taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy person, student athlete, so it means a lot that you can have this sit down with me and really engage with us. Your insight and experience allows all of us at EOU to learn and work towards a better environment for all students. Are there any questions you have for me?
No, I'm all good.
Perfect. I hope to see you around soon.
Thank you.
You're ready to switch. We will hear from either.
Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Garrett Hewitt, and you are?
There's Ronnie.
Ferris. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join me for this interview. The purpose of this interview is to discuss your experience at Eastern Oregon University so we can provide our president and administration with information on what it's like to be a student here. Is it okay if we share that information?
Of course.
Awesome. Would you want this interview to be anonymous? Yes or no?
I have no preference.
Do you have any questions for me before we start?
I do not.
To start off, how old are you, Ferris?
21.
21. And what year are you?
I'm a junior.
What does a normal day at UU look like for you?
Well, I do live off campus. So about a mile away from school towards the mountains. So sometimes I ride my bike in the morning, sometimes I take my car. Depends kind of on the weather here. It's kind of shoddy, so unpredictable.
Yeah.
I start off right now. I have my first class at 8 on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then that goes into a 9 and then to a 10. So back to back to back. I am on the men's soccer team, so sometimes we do a practice in the morning, so I don't really have the ability to shower after. So I just have to quickly freshen up in the men's locker room and head to class. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get to sleep in a little. We don't have practice in the mornings on those days. So my first class starts at 9, and then I have a 2-hour class that starts at 10, spanning until 12. After that, I spend some time with my girlfriend. We go out to eat, enjoy ourselves, and then since I am on soccer team, I have practices every day from 4 to 6. So after that, shower, do homework, eat, and then I go to bed.
Awesome. So you said you live off campus in the apartments, correct?
Yes, I live in an apartment with a roommate.
Okay. How would you describe your life in the apartments? What do you enjoy?
It's good. Price-wise, we are spending a little bit more because it is the two of us and it's a bigger space, but I really like that I have my own room that's fairly large, I have a good sized bed. We have no problem sharing a washer and dryer, no problem sharing the kitchen because it's only two of us. Bathroom as well. So I'd say the overall experience, especially being this close to campus and everything around it very nearby, the stores, I'd say it's a very positive experience.
Awesome. That's great. How did you hear about our school?
So I played soccer for my community college I transferred from. And I researched NAIA colleges or universities that had no religious affiliation because I am agnostic. And I kind of wrote a bunch of emails to a lot of coaches saying I'm interested to play. I have a film video that's coming out that I'm creating. We'd like me to send it to you. At first, Jesse Watson, the coach here, did not reply to me. So I followed up over and over and over, and he showed interest and we got into contact that way. So.
Awesome. And is that what officially brought you in, was getting recruited from the soccer coach?
Yeah, this was the first college where I took a recruiting trip. I had another one at a D2, but the overall experience I had here on my recruiting trip and just the affordability, I knew that this is the direction I wanted to go.
Awesome. And then you said you were a transfer student. What college did you transfer from?
College of the Desert in the Coachella Valley.
Okay. How was your school life in your other college compared to UU?
So because the college was only about 15 minutes away, I lived at home with my parents. So there was no really sense of aloneness there, of being kind of singular in that department. So it didn't really feel like a college experience. I was taking college classes, but due to COVID, majority of them were online. I think I had maybe 2 in-person classes. Athletic wise, it was great, but I didn't really achieve the college experience like I am here.
That's fair. That's great. So do you think you'll stay here for the remainder of your college years?
I do.
What is your major?
Economics.
Economics. And what are your plans for the future?
So I'd be fairly happy working in the business sector, but the overall end goal is to be an intellectual property lawyer. So after I achieve my bachelor's here, I'm going to try to go to law school, preferably in California, just because I miss the weather. And yeah, go down the law route.
Awesome. It's a It's a great job to go into. Have classes been difficult for you?
For me personally, no, I could see with students, yes, especially student athletes being procrastination and not being kind of prepared to take on college classes, but personally for me, no.
And then how was the homework load in your classes? Kind of along the same lines.
Yeah, I wouldn't say difficult.
Would you prefer online or in-person classes?
Previously taking a lot of online classes, I'm a person that's fairly organized. I have a good schedule where I get things done. So I would prefer online classes. The only thing that's restricting me from taking online classes is I don't want to have to pay more money for online classes.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. What on-campus resources do you feel are the most useful here at UU?
I think our library is a pretty good space just to get work done. Being in the house, I'm always in the house, so I feel like I'm not going to get much work done. Being in the library with the environment that's around, especially downstairs, it's very studious. It drives you to get work done. So I'd say probably the library.
Awesome. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being terrible and 10 being exceptional, if you had to rate our staff here, how would you rate
I'd give it about an 8.
them? Nate? What can be done at EOU to increase that?
In our counseling department, I have had trouble being a transfer from community college. I had kind of a difficult time transferring in all my credits. Credits I thought would transfer that I would get credit for, I ended up not getting credit for. So I wish I was let know beforehand. So I think that just our counseling department can be done better.
Okay, it's good to note that. Are you in any clubs?
Not currently, but I did apply for director of campus affairs.
Awesome. Is there a reason particularly why you decided to apply for that?
I think being in the student body would provide great advantages for my future. I think it would lead me to go towards good paths and just a strong basis in what I'm going to do in the future.
Awesome. And then you mentioned you play soccer. How did you get into contact with our coach?
I emailed it. Right.
Oh, yeah. How would you describe the culture on the team?
The culture, I think it can be improved upon. I feel like a lot of players stick in their own groups. So I think there's a little bit of division there, but overall, I think we have each other's backs throughout the whole kind of student athlete journey, and we're always looking out for each other. So
Awesome. Does your coach support having a high GPA on your team?
yes, he does. We recently started to do study sessions, getting collectively during around 7 p.m. at night, just to get our workload done so we keep that high GPA. So.
Awesome. Would you recommend EOU to someone? Why or why not?
I would recommend EOU to someone. I'm a big fan of small class sizes. So getting that real teacher to student experience is something that's really important for me. And I think that a lot of big universities miss out on. I feel like at a lot of big universities, people are just another number. So here you really get that student to teacher connection. Whenever you need help, they're going to help you. I wish the city was a little bit bigger, but that everything's close by is great. Save a lot on gas. So
Awesome. And with that, the interview is concluded. Do you have any follow-up questions for me?
I do not.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ferris. The information you've given me today is great feedback. Our administration will definitely be pleased. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work. And then we have our final chair of the day.
Hi, Drew. My name is Addison Bonzani. Thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me. The purpose of this interview is to survey another student about their experience at Eastern Oregon University. And my goal is to provide EOU's president and administration with information on what it's like to be a student at EOU. Before we begin, this interview will be recorded. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Perfect, and I'm just on my laptop to follow along and ask you questions. So let's start with some demographic questions. What is your name and how old are you?
My name is Drew Reyes and I am 22 years old.
Where are you from and what year are you in?
I am from Yakima, Washington, and I am AC.
Did you come in as an academic freshman to EOU or did you transfer?
I came in as an academic freshman.
So to get out of the weeds a little bit, what made you pick EOU?
So I've always played football. That's kind of what I wanted to do coming out of high school. So I had a coach from my high school who he also played here, and he kind of got me in touch with the head coach here and kind of helped me. And I also like the EOU's like small campus area and just like how it's kind of not so far from home. And yeah.
Nice. I would love to come back to a couple points of that answer in a little bit, but first I'll ask, what is your major?
My major is health and human performance exercise.
And how did you choose this?
It's always been kind of something that I've enjoyed. I have a history of like my family has all been in exercise science field. One of my favorite coaches has kind of been a really big mentor. He's been in that field, so kind of want to follow what they've been doing.
Very nice. What does a typical weekday during the academic year look like?
Pretty much we're like for football, we're always kind of in season, even during the off season. So I guess I start my day like wake up around 6 and we'll have meetings in the morning. And from there, it just depends on the class days and everything, but usually have class at like 9 or 10 and then trickles down and then we have like meetings again around 2 or 3. And then on off days or on the other days, we'll have like practice and everything. And then usually we'll have study hall 2 times a week. Yeah.
As a follow-up, how long do practices usually last?
Practices usually last about, I would say about hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours.
Nice. So you play football. Tell me about your experience as a student athlete.
I would say it's been pretty good. There's some ups and downs, there's times when you're taking pretty hard classes, and especially during doing the sport, could get overwhelming, but for the most part, it's pretty fun. I like being an athlete and also in school.
So it is common for freshmen to redshirt for their first year here at EOU, from my understanding. Do you feel like this is more of a positive practice, or does your opinion lean towards it being negative?
I'd say it definitely depends on whether you're ready or not. I did redshirt as a freshman, but I felt that I could have played, but at the same time, you kind of want to use all your eligibility as much as you can. So overall, I was okay with being redshirted.
Pros and cons for sure. How do you feel about the football program overall?
Overall, I feel it's pretty good. I mean, there's been some really big ups and downs the past few years, but we recently got some new coaches, and I think we're going to be doing better.
That's exciting to hear. Do you believe that the community service required of you as a student athlete is beneficial?
Oh yeah, definitely. You get to meet a lot of new people, a lot of people in the community that like are just beneficial to you. Just recently, me and one of my friends we're doing community service, and we were just offered a job, which was like really nice. Yeah, so it's really good. I mean, we're also doing like a Adopt a School program, which is like we go to elementary schools and hang out with the elementary kids. So that's pretty fun.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being extremely negative and 10 being extremely positive, how would you rate EOU classes overall?
I would say probably an 8. Yeah, probably.
And what are your feelings about the professors here at EOU?
I definitely think they're really good. They're great. Some professors make you feel a little bit more than a little more better about yourself, I guess, than others. But it just depends on your communication and your relationship with them.
Good to hear. So I understand that you're a senior. How prepared do you feel to graduate?
Pretty. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, it's been a long 4 years, so like I'm pretty excited.
Nice. What plans do you have for after you graduate?
Not too sure. I definitely do want to kind of see how football stuff goes. So I might try and do some like football things outside of school.
Mhm.
But if not, then I am trying to I would say be a PE teacher. It's like thing. So
Nice. Good goal. Is there anything else you feel like you as president and administration should be?
no.
Okay, to state the goal again, the goal of this interview is to provide EOU's president and administration with information on what it's like to be a student at EOU, and I think we're a very big help. So thank you for answering.
Hello, my name is Drew Reyes. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day and participating for this interview. I am with EOU administration and I want to conduct an interview with you on how your time is at EOU. This information for EOU is for EOU presidents and administration to help make EOU a better place. Before we begin, are you okay with this interview being recorded?
Yes, I am.
Do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
All right, so my first question is, what is your name and how old are you?
My name is Addison Bonzani, and
Is this your first year being at UU? If so, are you living in the dorms or off campus?
this is my second year being at EOU, although I'm an academic senior and I currently live in.
Oh, okay. So tell me more about that. How did you get so ahead in college while being younger?
I did dual credit program through the charter high school that I was a part of. So I was going full time to community college, starting at the end of my freshman year.
Wow, that's awesome. How have you liked EOU so far?
I've liked it a lot. I think EOU as a whole and like the campus community really fits like my personality and the lifestyle that I like to live. So I think I would say I enjoy it.
That's great. What is your major?
I am an anthropology sociology major. So it's one major. Some people think that it's a double, but it's not. And then the concentration is in anthropology.
Okay. What made you choose that major?
It was an accident, kind of. I had originally registered to be a psychology major because that field interested me a lot, but I didn't necessarily want to be a counselor. So I was debating between that major and finding something else, but I didn't know what, and I felt kind of stuck. And someone mentioned it on accident, pretty much, and so I did some research and got really hooked on the idea of archaeology. So I found like what the related major is and where I could find that. And it turns out EOU has a pretty good anthropology program. So since I was already registered to come here, I just switched my major. And stayed in.
Oh, that's great. How many classes are you currently taking?
I am currently enrolled in 5 classes.
Does it feel like a hard workload?
No, I would say not. It's my final term, so I thought it would be a lot more difficult than it is, but a lot of my hard senior level capstone classes and things like that were last term. So this term is just filler classes to stay full time and just a couple like electives to finish off my degree.
Awesome. On a scale 1 to 5, how difficult would you say your workload is at the moment with 1 being easiest and then 5 being difficult?
I would say 3, because it is 5 classes still. So like the workload, there's plenty to do. But compared to past classes, the work itself is significantly easier than I'm accustomed to.
What excites you about EOU the most?
I would probably say at this point in time, what excites me most about EOU is the potential it has. I feel like I have a good sense for like the pulse of the university. And so I know that there's some issues and I know that there's a lot of positives. And so considering the changes that's happening, like with the president and a lot of things like that, I'm really excited to see where the university goes in the future.
Awesome. Do you feel safe at
I would say so. I mean, I'm comfortable walking back like to the dorms from the library at night. I will say I had someone break into my apartment on campus last term, and that was a scary experience. And so I feel like that hurt that a little bit. But overall, I feel like this community and campus is a pretty safe place.
If you had to pick one thing that stands out to you stands out to you that we could do to make it a better place and more exciting for incoming students?
I would say to make it better, security for sure on campus, more of a presence or more personnel. And for incoming like freshmen and more people coming to campus, I think that the community life on campus could use a little bit of work. I had someone point out the other day that it was like nice weather and there wasn't that many people outside. And that was like when it was first getting warm, and then I'm pretty sure it snowed again like a couple days later. But I feel like we could work a little bit harder to make the community very present on campus.
What is your biggest challenge being a EOU college student?
The biggest challenge, probably just time management. I'm involved in a lot of clubs and work and classes, so I feel like I really need to be on the ball with what needs to be done when, and prioritizing and scheduling, because if one thing falls through, then it affects all the areas of my life and it gets very stressful very fast.
100%. What is your best experience since you've been at EOU?
It's probably the first couple of weeks that I was on campus last year. I came in and did the summer bridge program. So I came earlier than the rest of the freshman student body. And we had a group that was like a class style, like intensive course to adjust from like COVID years, from being in high school to what college would look like. And so that group got very close very quick, and I feel like it really gave me a jump start into what college life at EOU looks like. So I enjoyed that a lot.
Awesome. All right, well, that is all the questions that I have for you. Thank you so much for giving me the time the opportunity to interview you and getting to know you a little bit. Once again, this information will be used only by EOU's president and administration to gather a better understanding of what they can do to make EOU a better place for students. And are there any questions you have for me?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate you letting me interview. Have a nice day.
Okay, Drew and Addison, thank you both for wrapping up our interview today. Just a few points of feedback overall, and then we will get out of here. So, one thing that I really appreciate is the process of observing and seeing other people interview, right? We get better at that too. And, you might have been on the spot to give an early interview, but things will be shuffled around so that you'll be giving a later interview later on in the class. So that'll help to balance things out. But the process of seeing other people give interviews, kind of that observational learning, is really useful, right? By understanding what's going on in interviews, we can understand how we can get better at doing it ourselves. I think that's really clear in seeing this round of interviews and the style and choices you all made. I think across the board, people did a great job of using opening and concluding as a way to frame the interview really clearly. I like the kind of opening up of questions, where questions gradually are becoming more open-ended over time. And I also appreciate how, there's an increased emphasis on follow-ups and trying to gather more information. Addison and Drew, I thought that you both did a great job of coming in with like substantive responses as interviewees. You had some thoughts and preparation going into that, which was really good. I thought that you were able to kind of follow up on lines of questioning. I like your phrasing, for instance, of saying, I'm going to come back to a couple of these points later, just to flag to the interviewee that that was the relevant point. I'd encourage you just to be careful about some of the double barred questions, right? Sometimes you all would ask like 2 questions right after each other. And that can be okay if it's very clear, but I think sometimes that can mean that somebody is just fixating on one part of the 2, or they might be missing part of the response to the question. So just say be a little bit careful about asking questions that have 2 different parts or 2 questions in one. But I thought overall you both did a great job of showing preparation, of showing engagement, of showing interest in the question process. And then Garrett and Ferris, I thought you both did a great job of having good clarity in communication. I really liked the strategy of saying, after you would do a scale question, saying, well, what can we do to get you up to that 10 score, right? That's a really great way to understand the scale, because a lot of times companies, organizations, groups gathering data want to know why that ranking is a particular way. So that use of the follow-up style is a really good way to gather more information. I thought a couple of the questions posed were a little bit broad. For example, talking about, some of the experiences about your time after EOU, or, benefiting from small classes. I might use a little bit more focus, or maybe a leading style in terms of helping to phrase those questions a little bit more. And then I thought the overviews were good, but they were a little bit fast. And so just making clear, and giving time for people to respond as you're framing the interview, I think is useful. But I thought overall, I really appreciated the quality of responses and questioning you both had. And then for Britt and Austin, I really liked how you were both using substantive comments, really giving your stories and experiences that brought you here to UU. I really liked how you all were able to bring in good clarity and things like scale questions that really helped. I, like these specific examples of talking about experiences like the challenge with dorm laundry, right? That is a type of response and information that's super useful that, like an attached person in administration is not going to get about the experience of being a student, but nevertheless impacts, right? So coming into those specific details and stories and being able to bring those out from the interview was really good. A couple of things to think about here. Again, similarly, you might use a bit more leading questions when you're talking about some of the experiences on EOU, preferences for courses, and so on. I thought that you all could use a little bit more follow-up, for instance, when you're asking a scale question, or somebody mentioned their transfer, right, asking where that's from. So I think, there's a couple opportunities to follow a line of questioning just a little bit more, especially since you have just a little more time to work with. But I really appreciated the quality of responses, your engagement, and your understanding of each other, and ability to bring those stories and experiences out. So really good work across the board on these interviews. We have our final set of interviews on Monday, so look forward to that. Then after that, we'll transition to our employment interview. So thank you all. Again, your grades and feedback are up on your interview analysis essays. Let me know if you have any questions about your first grade report. Have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the free weather, and see you next week.
Okay. So it's in the. We go into surveying the group.
Oh, no.
Nice stuff.
Oh, no, I can't put that in yet.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna do that later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just.
Yeah.